Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to look at the Vickers Cruiser, the Tier 9 British light tank, and what a beautiful tank this is. I did say when on open test that I believe this tank could be OP, and I think at the moment it's living up to its name. It is living up to its name. Pretty decent DPM, 2,800, which I think is pretty good DPM. Heat on the thing is 290, so pretty good heat. Isn't as good as the missile tank, but I mean the missile tank has always had good heat, good missile, and 245 millimeters of pen on the APCR. It has got a 350 alpha gun, which is what makes this tank really nice. 7.3 second reload. I do run it with calibrated shells, so the reload for me is 7.8. It has heat, it has that high pen HE, which is why I run this thing with calibrated shells. Speed 65 kilometers per hour, and just like the Tier 8, it does have a nice 10 degrees of gun depression, and it has 175 millimeters of armor on the turret, so you can get some troll bounces on the thing. Now I'm absolutely loving this tank, loving it so much, and I did say during test that this is going to be a nice tank. If it comes the way it was in open test, then this tank is going to be very nice indeed. The shell velocity is superb in this thing, so you can go spot tanks. You can then, if you wanted to, you can even snipe in the thing. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend, like I'm playing here, up close, use the ridge lines, use your gun depression, and you will get bounces. I mean, we bounced a shot already this game. I've only had a couple of games so far in this tank on the main live server, and you know what? I'm loving it. This was one of my first games in the thing. I'm not in a rush to get the Tier 10 because I've already played it, I've already tested it, and I don't think it's as fun as this tank. I do think this tank, compared to the Tier 8, and I mean the Tier 8 was a good tank, but there is a lot of other light tanks that are better, where this tank, there's only two other light tanks in Tier 9. One of them's an autoloader and one of them's a missile tank, so it's completely different to the other two missile tanks in the other two light tanks in Tier 9. So you do have a different play style, and it's not exactly the same. The 10 degrees of gun depression, I mean, we're able to get these shots off on that K91 in that kind of position because of that gun depression. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But what I would recommend it with the speed of this thing, of course, use the gun depression if you can. Use that strong turret. I mean, 175 millimeters is very good for a light tank. When you can, yes, get around those heavies, because you will be able to use HE in against some the rear of heavies, and against some even on the side of some medium tanks. So be careful, because other than your turret, you don't have much armor. You don't have a lot of armor at all, just that turret. And even the turret, I mean, it's not strong, but it's strong enough to use that 10 degrees of gun depression and to get the occasional bounce. And again, just like the Tier 8, you can't rely on the bounces. You're a light tank, remember that. You shouldn't really be getting too many bounces. So we are going to take out that Action X now, and it is just going to leave the Hori Type 2, and he's alone against quite a few tanks. And you can see a nice roll there for, well, it wasn't actually a nice roll, pretty average for a HE. And just before we reload, or just as we reload, we can take that guy out for our 5th kill. So 4,400 damage, top gun, high caliber. We get the Radleys. We do make some credits as well. 1,381 base XP, and I'm getting this kind of damage quite regularly. It's just amazing. I'm loving this tank. Not sure how OP it's going to be in the end, but for now I do think it's OP, and I did say it's going to be OP during open test. So here we are. This is actually I think this was my second game in the tank. And we are on dead rail. Now, I was humming and hawing whether I should go to the left side or whether I should poke the middle and use my gun depression to get the side shots. But I decided to come towards this side. And we do have a little bit of help, not too much help. But the enemy are pretty much, they are all over the place. There's some left, there's some right, and there is some in the middle. So at the moment, I'm just going to wait and I'm going to get some side shots. Well, I'm going to try and get some side shots, especially into that Vickers Cruiser on the enemy team. Bring him down to low enough hit points, and you can get a nice shot just in between that gap there. Now, our T49 here, he's going to play very aggressive. I mean, he's trying to get the shots off. I do have to apologise for that. I did get in his way and it did make him get shot, so I do apologise if that T49 is somehow watching the video. I do apologise for that. It was an accident. Accidents happen, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to earn us the win in this game. So the AT-15 is not really a tank I want to sit in front of. It does have nice DPM. So at the moment I'm going to take a shot from him just to get past and go for this Pantera, because he is chasing my guy. He's chasing it, and I can get a couple of nice HE rolls into his rear. There goes the T49. Didn't really see that ISU 152 right out the back there, and he takes care of him. But I do take care of the Pantera. So now I was sitting there thinking, right, do I run away? Are they going to push me? And as it happens, none of them actually push me. The AT-15 sits where he is and allows me to get a couple of shots into him. The E75 is just sat at the back, and the ISU is just sat at the back. So we do take another shot against this AT-15. So we're just going to wait till reload. And at this time, I don't mind trading a shot, but it turns out he misses anyway, and I can take him out. So we're now on 4k damage with just 2 tanks left alive. Nice high roll there, 438 high roll. It's lovely when you can get these high rolls. Absolutely lovely. In a medium, in a light tank, doing over 400 damage is nice. It really is nice. You can see there we are struggling to pen that E75, but just as we don't have any shots on him, we are going to shoot the ISU 152. I think we could actually have got a HE shot into the bottom plate there, but I didn't really want to risk it. I mean, we've got nice damage. I didn't want to risk doing like 10 damage, so we did go for the APCR shot. So now these two tanks are both a one shot. There goes the E75, and I am going to take out this ISU 152. So quite a nice battle, and as I've said, that was just my second battle in the tank, and we finish on 5,500 damage. We do get the ace, the Top Gun, and we get the Scout medal as well. So not a bad battle. 1,364 base XP. So yeah, not a bad battle for my second battle. Didn't really get any supremacy points, so that wasn't really earned. We did spot 5 tanks though. We didn't get no assistant damage, even though we spotted all of them tanks. So next up, straight away, this is so far the Hall of Fame. I mean, this will get beat. 100% this will get beat. And we're watching Lilep on Winter Malinovka. So all I've done to get this, I mean, he didn't send me this replay. I just had a look on BlitzStars to see what the damage was, and if anyone's actually uploaded. And if I would have uploaded my battle there, that would be second. That would be second. I'm not going to do it. It's no point. I don't want a Hall of Fame for a matter of days. It's going to get beat. It's going to get beat. Where this guy has uploaded his Hall of Fame. So currently this is number 1, and as I've said, it's a light tank with great view range. These tanks have got the best view range in the game, so you should be able to easily spot the enemy before the enemy spot you. And he does get a shot into that T49, so he's just going to sit back at the minute. He's looking at the mini-map, and he's thinking, I mean, it's best to turn around. You can see the mini-map. I mean, his team are pretty much all by the middle, all around the C area. There goes the FE301. He didn't last long. He gets taken out from the T49. So these tanks are definitely worth the grind. They are fun. Even the Tier 8, even though I'm saying that it's not the best of light tanks in Tier 9, they are all definitely worth the grind, because they are fun tanks. Now I bought this one and the tier 8 one just from my free XP. I'm not going to rush to get the tier 10 because, as I've said, I've played it, I tested it, I've got the ace. My main priority was to get the tier 8 and the tier 9, make a video on them, and of course get the ace. So I got pretty lucky with the ace. I got them quite early before everyone starts playing them, because I can guarantee you now, as soon as people start playing this tank in particular, it is going to be a nightmare to ace. It will. So if you haven't got this and you've got free XP, go get it now, especially if you are ace chasers and you want to get as many aces as you can. Go get it now, use some free XP, because it's going to be very difficult to ace within the next week or so. So bear that in mind. If you don't care about the ace, then of course grind it. The tier 8 is fun to grind. It will be fun to grind. It's not going to be too boring. But I think with this tank, I think I'm not going to get the Vickers in the tier 10 one, because I'm really enjoying this tank, and in fact I prefer this tier 9 tank than the tier 10 tank. It's just, I don't know what, maybe because it sees tier 8, you have plenty of more, you have more opportunity to get the juicy rears of heavy tanks, nice juicy scorpions, and of course medium and light tanks, where tier 10 you do come across a bunch of people with heavily armor. So he's having a really good game so far, nearly 4k damage. Again, a nice roll there, and this is the kind of stuff you can do. Always do try and go for the HE, because especially at the rear of tanks you will be able to penetrate. Not every heavy you'll be able to penetrate with HE, but there are some heavies that doesn't have too much armor that you will be able to pen from the side plate, from the rear, with HE. And if you can get the max damage, you're going to pump up that damage really quickly. And when you're using a tank like this, or like something with Hesh, the FE4202 for instance, not the Chieftain, but tanks with Hesh, you'll be very surprised just how quick your damage goes up, because you're doing over 400 damage every single shot, and when the game ends you're like, how did I end up with that damage? It's because you're Hesh, it's because you're HE, your high penetration HE on this thing. You're not going to pen everything, but it does allow you to pen the side of medium tanks, some rear of heavies, and quite a few TDs. So that is the Vickers Cruiser. OP, very OP, and I think it's going to stay OP, and I think it's going to be a very, very difficult tank to ace. So if you want to get the ace, I would go get it now. Use your free XP, it definitely is worth it, but I wouldn't then 3 XP for the tier 10. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.